Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We from 7 Group. Let me introduce our group. There are Anissa Tiara Shafitri, Erina Resta Aulia, and also Miss Siti Fatima. We will present about noun clause connector. The first is definition of a noun clause. Is a dependent clause that acts as a noun. Noun clause begin with words such as how, that, what, where, when, where, whether, which, whichever, who, whoever, whom, whomever, and why. Noun clause can act as subject, direct object, indirect object, predicate nominative, or object of a preposition. There are three kinds of noun clause connector. First is what, when, where, why, and how are called 5W and 1/8, and then wherever, if, and the last that. This is pattern using noun clause connector. Subject, verb, using one of noun clause connector, and then subject and verb again. For example, to using noun clause, we'll explain in the next slide.
I will explain about connectors. There are some connectors like question word, whatever and whenever, whether or if, and that. Okay, these are some example of question word connectors. Like, okay, uh, let's go to the first example. The first sentence is I didn't understand what you said. Can you repeat it once more? In this sentence, word as a connectors that is part of question word. The next example is I don't know about why he said such things. And then the next example, we are not sure where we shall have our dinner tonight. And the last example of question word connectors is can you tell me when the accident happened? In this case, question word like what, why, where, and when as a connector. Okay, next. These are some example again of whatever, whenever, whether, if, and that. The example of whatever is I want to borrow whatever the book Sarah ever lent you. And the example of whenever is they will come to your birthday party whenever it will be held. And the example of whether or if is he couldn't choose whether to buy a computer or a new smartphone. And the example of if is if the weather is nice, she will go to the beach. Um, in the we can use whether or if. Actually, if is always used for conditional, whereas whether is always used when we are talking about two alternatives or two choices, like in the in the sentence uh, the choices between buy a computer or a new smartphone. Okay, and the last connectors is that, and the example is I can see that you understand my opinion. Okay, next slide.
Okay, I'm going to continue the material. You can see here, this is the table of non-clause connector. There are what, when, where, why, and how, and then also whatever and whenever, and then whether and if. Uh, my friend already gave the example before, so here's the example again. uh, Especially the pattern. So the example is I know what you did. Here you can see I know what you did. I hear as a subject, and then what is noun as a non-connector, and your is the subject. Why what can be non-connector? Because what is explain the subject, the previous word, like that. And then the second example is what you did was wrong. What is a non-connector? And you as a subject, and did verb, and was a verb. You can see the translate and the meaning below down here. Okay, next. Okay, this is the example of the question. uh, I put the explanation too. This is the five. There are five questions here, and you can see the the explanation beside this. Okay, first, please tell me blah 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 makes you cry. You can see the choices: if, what, whether, and how. What the possible answer of this question? Yeah, exactly. The answer is B, and you can see the explanation why the answer is B, because non-clause is as object transitive. Because what is the non-clause connector? Okay, let's use a logical. So if we choose answer C, it's make no sense, and D is not make sense. It's not make sense. So the answer is B, and then you can see and read the question below. uh, if I don't know, I do not know, blah blah blah, he has no parent. So what the possible answer of this question? Yes, the answer is A, that. Because that, you can use that in any subject. So it's like you can use that in person and in like thing. So like that you can see, and you can read by yourself here. The explanation is here, you can see. And that's all for my group. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.